Okay, a little note on the front rack. When we are in a front rack, we want to understand that this movement and this position is not a hold of the barbell in your hands. It is a holding of the barbell on your shoulders, the front rack. And this is actually where I'd like you to start, is figuring out how to protract the shoulders and get the barbell to rest on them like so. For many of us, this is gonna feel like discomfort and an issue on the collarbones, okay? It has to do with how far you can actually protract your shoulders forward to create a shelf. And the stronger you are, the more muscle you have here, the more protection you'll have. But it doesn't mean that even if you are brand new, baby lamb, no muscle, that you can't get into this position, because you can. And when the hands get involved, it becomes a little trickier because we're asking our wrist to come back quite an extensive amount. Sorry for the noise. And we're asking our elbows to come up quite a nasty amount. So we need elbow flexion, tremendous, and wrist flexion, a tremendous amount to get there, okay? So if we can do this, great. If we cannot get to that position properly, then what we can do to modify is essentially what I'm doing here, one thumb, okay? Or hands across. Now this is going to make us less stable, and this will be more challenging, but it is something to start before we get to this full rack position. Two fingers is also a great way to begin this. And the number one thing for this is to essentially, again, come back to the shelf so that this is possible, but also to think about getting the elbows up as high as possible. So any movement we're in, if it's a step up, if it's just walking, if it's squatting, we're thinking about keeping a tricep parallel to the floor. So as we come down, it does not drop, it stays up as much as possible. Okay, that's our front rack. If we're having issues with the front rack, we can go through some stretching where we can essentially mimic position and do one at a time, going through, driving that elbow up, grabbing the barbell.